Welcome back, Dorksiders. I'm Nick Comics.
And I'm Brand X.
And we are here this week, guys, to talk to you about something really awesome. The Season 6 finale of The Walking Dead. And we're not just going to talk about that. We may talk about some stuff in the season leading up to the finale. Correct. So spoilers beware. Spoilers aplenty. And if you
Lots of spoilers.
That's right. If you haven't seen Season 6 season finale, you definitely don't want to watch this.
No, not until you've sat down and watched it, then you come back, see what we have to say, and, leave us your thoughts in the comments. We always love to hear from you guys.
Yep.
So, first off, I just want to start this off by saying I think we may be, so far, the only people I've heard of that weren't completely let down and pissed off by the finale. Of course, it's like you want to know who got Lucille, who died, but, come on, man. This is not the first time The Walking Dead has left us on a cliffhanger. Granted, they've never left us with a cliffhanger of this magnitude, but, come on.
Well, first off, it makes for compelling TV. I mean,
absolutely.
If they leave you with all the information, then there's nothing to speculate on. We've watched several videos in the last few days where people have said that, now we have to talk about who died. We all just wanted to say how cool Negan was and then move on. But that to me is not as good as, okay, yeah, Negan was awesome, but who do you think he killed?
Exactly.
That to me is more stimulating conversation. So from that standpoint, I think that we're actually lucky to have that to talk about for the next few months and who we think may have bought the farm, so to speak.
Absolutely, and just that point alone, if you were to go by the Dork Side of the Nerd Facebook group, you'll see there's plenty of conversations already on there about, this person thinks that this person got it. This person thinks that maybe one of these two people got it. This person thinks, you know what I mean? And it's just, it is stimulating conversation. And as we get closer and closer to Season 7 coming, which I know is 6 months away, but as we get closer and closer to that, all those theories are just more and more of them are going to pop up.
That's right.
And, there are a lot of people out there already who are trying to say, this is who it is. This is the definitive proof we have. From people trying to enhance the audio that you hear when Negan attacks, to there's body molds going around from K&B, who, Greg Nicotero's makeup group, who has always done the makeup and effects for Walking Dead. There's pictures of body casts and people saying, oh, this looks like it's so-and-so's body and all this stuff. And man, it's really all just a tool to keep people talking, to keep people interested. And that's what they want.
That's what they want, but as fans, that's what we should want too.
Absolutely.
And, Greg Nicotero and Robert Kirkman both said, on The Talking Dead and in other formats, that they have a plan.
Sure.
They have a plan for Season 7. And
right.
that the scene with Negan coming in at the end of Season 6, and the group being vulnerable for the first time, all of them being down on their knees, truly having no exit strategy or no way out.
Right.
That was the end of the story for Season 6. And
right.
Who dies? The death, we know somebody dies. The death took place, but the identity of the death and forward
is all
Season
part
7
of
is
the
part
new
of the new story. And generally for these guys to look you in the face or look the camera in the face and tell America, we have a plan and you won't be let down.
Mm-hmm.
After being with these guys for six seasons,
they got my loyalty. I
just don't doubt them. I don't say, they're saying that, but I don't believe them.
Right.
I think that's a bunch of bullshit, and I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm watching some other shows and get interested. No, I believe they will deliver something.
Yes.
I believe it will be, even if it's only half of what they say it is. I'm still thinking it's going to be enough for me.
Sure.
And
it's like I look at it like, okay, for 6 years now, this TV show has entertained me. This TV show has gotten me emotionally invested. It's never let me down. There's been moments where they pissed me off. There's been moments where I've literally wanted to stand up off my sofa and just be like, yes. I mean, you've seen these characters come through so much, and it's like, I don't know. To me, that means something. It's like you have kept me interested for 6 years. Okay, the first curveball that you throw me, major curveball, for me to just give up and be like, oh, you know what, dude, that just pissed me off. Fuck you. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm a little bit more loyal than that.
Even to call it a curveball, it's like I kind of just look at it and I see these guys are doing. People can say that they're not, but they're doing the smart thing.
They really
they're
are.
They're doing the smart thing, and they want this show to continue, and they want this show to thrive, and they know that not only doing it the way that they did it, not only will that bring. Keep the fans there in suspense and keep people talking about the show. But, if they found a new way to tell the story from the beginning of season 7, starting with the death, that's even better than it would have been just... I mean, think of it. If we left them with somebody dying, they show us who dies, they show him get beat to a pulp, and then it fades to black. Okay.
People have said they leave you satisfied.
Yeah.
And they're not supposed to do that.
Well, people have already said, though, it's going to lose momentum now that they didn't show it to us. But if they showed us the death and then cut to black, the momentum and impact of how all the people are going to react to it would be gone, because you have 6 months to be numb to the fact of who had ever died, who had died.
Exactly. So, and then when it comes back, there's
like,
nothing built up.
There's nothing built up. You're like, oh, I knew it was Glenn. So yeah, Glenn, get over it, guys. But the thing is if we don't know, and then season 7 starts us off with the shock of bam, that person is dead. When those characters are dealing with that emotion, we're dealing with that emotion with them, as opposed to being detached from it over 6 to 7 months. So I understand completely what Robert Kirkman and them are saying by that was the end of the story. We all knew somebody was going to die. Everybody knew somebody was going to die. So if they had just given that to us, there'd be no suspense to last over the summer. There'd be no suspense to last until we got back to it. It'd been like, oh, Negan was cool, this person died, move on and forget about it until next year. And that's not what they want. And if it was my show, it's not what I would want either.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it's like, a lot of people are saying, well, it's definitely not Glenn because, that's what everybody would expect it to be. Honestly, I think in this season, they've stuck more to the comic than they have on any other season.
Yep.
And you know what? Maybe it's not Glenn. But you know what? If the show does come back and it turns out that it was Glenn, people are still going to be shitting themselves. And, dude, part of the fun of it, I think, is speculating. Like, who do you think, well, I think because of the mannerisms of this character, maybe they're the ones who got it. Or maybe because, this character seemed to be less afraid of what was going on. Maybe he chose them to make an example. I mean, I think that stuff is awesome.
Yep.
Just to talk about because, it gets people talking. It gets people looking at each other's point of views. And it's just, it's just good TV, man. It's I don't know. Hearing Andrew Lincoln talk about it, I remember one of the first conversations I had online after the finale premiered, I had said, look, from season 1 all the way through up until this point, with all the things that they have been through, whether it be bad eggs within the group, whether it be Carl getting shot and all that on Herschel's farm and having to win Herschel's family's trust, to the prison, to Terminus, to the mad Walker disease they were dealing with, to the governor, all these things that they've been through. This is literally the first time that they are all fucked. They have no control. They have nobody out there waiting to save them. They are literally at the mercy of their captors, and that has never happened before.
Yep.
So, dude, they've taken us already to a whole... Dude,
the game's about to change.
New game,
the
exactly.
Game's about to change.
And seeing them rise up from this is going to be so great.
Yeah. Absolutely. Season 6 was great, and I think Season 7 is going to be even better. I think Season 7 is going to be a whole new dynamic, like he was saying. And I really think that, the characters are going to come back, and this time they're going to be forged like in steel.
Oh, yeah.
If they were hardened before, they're going to be hardened now. And I think, Rick has finally realized that his ego... his ego has been put in check.
Oh, yeah.
He's finally realized that all that, macho, bravo kind of he had...
Yeah, that's been working for him for so long.
isn't there anymore. And he's like Negan said, he's like, you built something, you thought you were something, but you're not.
You're not.
And this is the first time they're having to face that.
Exactly. And one of the things that I loved about the finale is, just other than the emotion, because I'm telling you right now, as soon as they were, when they were running through the woods, that last part there, as soon as those lights popped on, and, they were just surrounded by saviors all the way through the whole part with Negan. Once those lights came on, I literally felt like I was on the ground on my knees right next to all of them. And the thing that I loved so much about it is the hardest guy in the group, which is Rick, was the most terrified. You could tell. And it's like, dude, he said he did such a great job of like just completely losing his mind, yet trying to keep it together, and he's not keeping it together. As far as he knows, because they already know he's the leader. So as far as he knows, he's about to watch not only his son die, but everybody he considers to be his family. He's about to watch all of them die, and then he's gonna die as far as he knows. So he's pretty much just trying not to have a heart attack at that point.
I mean, so.
They have never been in this situation before.
And Negan, he was amazing.
Oh, absolutely!
I mean, such a good job.
Absolutely,
and,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan was. I mean, he was excited as hell about getting that part, and it showed. It really showed.
And there were some people. There's mostly what we're addressing in this episode is not only how much we like the episode and some of the better points, but we're kind of going towards some of the criticism that we've heard this last episode get. There have been a lot of people who have given Jeffrey Dean Morgan, not flack per se, but they've poked
a lot of
complaints. Complained about his performance, everything that from he wasn't energetic enough,
right? He wasn't clean shaven. He wasn't buff enough.
Exactly, but these are all such cosmetic and minor details. His performance was great. With the 10 minutes that he had to show you who this character was.
He did it.
That's really what he had. He had 10 minutes of talk time.
He had one monologue to basically introduce to you who he was. And, dude, he rocked it.
He did.
I mean, think about it. We still have a whole nother season at the least of finding out, not only what kind of guy this is, but other things he's done in the past.
If you ask me, I think we're going to have a season of him on top, and then we may end up having a season or a half a season of the conflict of power possibly changing hands, and then I think we'll have a half a season to a season of him at the bottom where he's imprisoned or whatever, and I think we'll have that. So I see him at least 2.5 seasons of him being Negan in the show, maybe 3, because there's also the possibility of them at some point having to join forces towards
the Whisperers,
a larger enemy.
Yes.
Exactly. So,
and then on the flip side of the coin, you also have everything that's going on with Morgan and Carol. And
which was also amazing.
It really was. He refused to let her go, even though she is at that point right now where Rick's been before, where it's just like, dude, I just don't care anymore. Whatever happens, happens.
Well, and Morgan had, since he came back, since we saw that episode where he had lost it and was savage, and he came back to reality through being taught by, was it Eastman?
Yeah, the cheesemaker.
Exactly. So, since that transformation, this is probably the biggest moment Morgan's had as far as transformation, where since he killed, and not just killed a little to save Carol. He put he 3, 4, 5 shots to that dude. I mean, so he didn't just clip the guy and be like, I'm giving you a warning. He took that dude down.
And of course, then they also introduce a couple of members, the guy from the Kingdom, the guys who come out to help them. And the Kingdom is, if you're not familiar with the comic book, is a whole other group. And, they're pretty much, at least up, as far as we know now, they're actually all pretty good people.
Right.
And then they're the ones who wear, the body armor and this. And earlier in the season, I think it was Daryl and Rick had come up on a building, and one of those guys that took off from the back and was like, they're coming, you better get going. That was also a member of the Kingdom, but he was literally in there for like 30 seconds. But it was just long enough for you to be like, that looks like one of the he could be part of the kingdom.
Exactly.
So,
and there were a lot of people that had some speculation on that, and you guys were right. So kudos to you.
And the thing is, a lot of people are saying like there's nobody out there to come and get them. Nobody knows exactly where they are. All this kind of stuff. Because like Morgan even says to Carol, he tells her, "Look, I'm going to patch you up, and then we're going to head back. Everybody else is probably already back." And she says, "Well, from where?" And he says, "Looking for you." So as far as he knows, they're all back in Alexandria. Now, we got to remember why the group went to take the Saviors out in the first place was so that they could lighten the load on Hilltop, and Hilltop in return would help them survive. So eventually, Jesus, especially, is smart enough to realize, we haven't heard from these guys in a while. Something must have went wrong.
Right.
So if anybody's going to come looking for them, it's the people left at Hilltop. And at this point, I really hope that they do, because they need all the help they can get right now.
But whether or not the people coming back from Hilltop are going to really be able to do anything for them is
a whole nother,
because
exactly.
they had a problem taking care of Negan, which is why they had to bring the group in. So
right.
If they were bringing them as an outside force to handle Negan, then them being able to handle Negan, I mean, if they could do it themselves, why did they have to outsource in the beginning?
As of right now, anybody coming to rescue them, that's pretty much their only hope. Unless, the folks back in Alexandria can somehow figure out exactly where they've been taken.
Well, I think what's going to happen, personally, they're going to kill somebody, and they're going to leave them there. They're not going to just sit there. They're going to leave them there and go, "You work for us now.
Right.
We'll be in touch."
Absolutely.
Shit. So I don't think they're going to be rescued. I think they're just going to be left there
and taken away. Because the chances of where Negan did this murder, the chances of that location being where they are, like their compound, is very slim.
Right.
And it's.
I don't think that he'll let all of them go. I think he'll kill one. I think he'll take a few as either hostages or insurance or to get information from them.
Right.
And I think he'll leave the rest of the group to be like, "Okay, go back to your little town and start getting ready for me, because you guys will start foraging or doing whatever you do. We'll be in touch for our stuff. Maybe we'll bring some of your people back. Maybe we won't."
And see, there again, knowing Scott Gimple and Robert Kirkman, it could go a whole nother way to where they are all taken captive, and somebody from within the Saviors, like maybe Dwight, bust them loose, maybe in the middle of the night. It's like, "Look, just go now. This is your only chance." Who knows? But that's what I love about Robert Kirkman and Scott Gimple is, those guys can weave a web. And there again, like I said, they've proven this over the years, which is why they have my loyalty, which is why I'm not writing them off after, this ultimate cliffhanger that we got. I totally give this season finale a total 10. I was blown away. I enjoyed it. I've watched it many a time, and I literally cannot wait for it to come back.
I would give the whole season a 9.75, and I would give the finale a 10. The back half of the season would definitely be where the 10 portion comes from.
Yeah.
Maybe a little lower in the beginning of the season, but the back half of the season has been straight out of the comic books, and they seem to be getting closer and closer to modeling it after the comic books. Pretty damn close. Now, they switch out the deaths, of course, so you don't know who's going to die.
Keeping things interesting.
But when she got killed on the train tracks.
Denise.
When Denise got killed on the train tracks, that was actually Abraham in the comics. But the arrow through the eye, the way she was still talking after she had died.
Yes.
That was actually Abraham walking on Eugene to go do the run.
Right.
Abraham and Eugene being on the watch together, and him telling them about making bullets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just so many of those scenes were straight out of the comics. So I really do feel that we're going to see a lot more of stuff that's going to be directly from the comics. Whether or not the people who die are the same people, that'll be the switch up. But the comics telling such a great story, you can't blame them for pulling directly from it.
And and that's the thing. It's like I remember the mid-season finale. Where they all start to basically mask themselves with the Walker guts and everything like they did in season 2, trying to get out of Alexandria, and it ends, with little Sam like, "Mom," that I'm not even gonna say it was disappointing. It was just kind of like, okay, that's how they're gonna, because it's usually, even if it is just the mid-season finale, it's usually a bit more epic. But after seeing the finale and everything that led up to it, I was like, okay, that's why it didn't really pack much of a punch, was because the actual season finale was a total, like, Incredible
Buster.
Hulk body
That's right.
blow.
That's right.
And, like,
well, and
brilliant.
I still think mid-season finales sometimes, they're not as strong as your ending finales,
Right.
because they're not.
It's not
They're
the
not
actual
really,
end.
yeah, they're not really meant. They're meant to go into that next episode without there being, a lot of time passing, or without
Right.
there being like this big, what happened,
It's just an introduction to an intermission, basically.
Intermission, exactly.
So, but yeah, I mean, we totally, like, thumbs up to not only Robert Kirkman and Scott Gimple and Greg Nicotero directing, but especially the actors, Jeffrey Dean Morgan included. I mean, Stephen Agg, all the new cast members. I think I got his name pronounced right,
Yeah.
but like, man, they all did such a great job. And we were blown away,
And we think season 7 is going to be the best season
Oh,
yet, by
oh,
far.
yes.
And season 6 was one of the best seasons
Absolutely.
to date, but I think season 7 is going to kick.
I mean,
it in the nuts.
I so far I've literally enjoyed each season more and more as they've progressed, as they've come at us. So I really don't see that stopping now. I see this finale being a basically just a giant progression for the rest of the seasons to come.
Yep.
Like, the first 6 seasons were something completely different. Now we're really getting deep into the dark gray matter of The Walking Dead, and I'm so ready for that. I'm so happy. I'm so stoked.
Okay, so before we go, who do you think died? Who's your pick?
I just have a feeling that it's either going to be Glenn, or at first I was thinking Abraham, but the more I've thought about it, for certain reasons, I don't think it's him. I think it's either going to be Glenn, or I think it's going to be Eugene. I think that the worst person that it could be would be Maggie. I think that would be the most brutal thing they could do, because Maggie's with child, and it's Maggie. Now granted, I'd hate to see, we know Rick and Carl are safe. And I would really hate to see Daryl go. I would hate to see Michonne go. But I just have a feeling, man, that it's either Glenn or Eugene. That's pretty much what I'm sticking with right now. So.
I think Daryl was on my top list for a while, but I think him and Dwight have too much left between them for it to end right there.
Yeah, I think their story's just beginning as well.
Yeah, I think Michonne and Rick, I don't think they would have started the love story between Michonne and Rick. And there was no subtle goodbyes like they do with some of the other characters, they did with some of the other characters. So I don't think that would be. My money's on Glenn. For lots of reasons, the rear view mirror scene when he went off to go after Daryl,
or the scene where him and Maggie are in the shower.
Yeah,
and and she's just he's kind of holding her, and happy in the moment, kind of as if to say, I got you, we're safe. But her face is completely telling another story, almost like she for some reason is horrified for the future.
Right. And after they got done with the hospital, they go to that town, and Glenn's sitting there playing with the baseball bat.
Yes.
He's the only one who notices that all the pictures, they really cue on him for the pictures when they're killing the saviors, and they've got all the brains splattered out above their beds. He's the one that sees all that.
Nobody else comes
is the one that sees it. He's the one that sees it. Well, it's him and
Heath.
Mm-hmm. But Heath doesn't see it.
Exactly.
It's Glenn. And there's been a lot of foreshadowing for it to be Glenn. Glenn's at the end of his story arc.
Right.
He went from the person who would not kill to somebody who did kill humans. And that was kind of his code. And in the end, he broke his code.
Yes.
He's kind of run his story. And of course, they faked us out in the beginning of the season, thinking he was going to die, and then saying that he's not. So it's almost as if they're like, well, now no one's going to think it's him because it already technically could have happened, and then he escaped it. So maybe everybody thinks he's safe for that reason. But I think Glenn. If I had to pick a second person. I know Eugene did give the
ingredients for the bullets
and everything like that, but I just don't think Eugene. I don't think Eugene is really a fan favorite enough for him to
Yeah.
really have that impact. Same thing with Aaron. I don't think Aaron has enough fan favorite
Right, for
behind
anybody
him,
to
for
really
anybody
be like, to really feel like they've really been
a
hit.
loss. Yeah,
Yeah,
feel a loss.
exactly.
So if I was to pick, people for a loss, it would have to be Daryl, which I don't think so because of his story.
Yeah.
It would be Glenn, or it would be Maggie. And I think Glenn and Maggie are definitely
wow.
the Walking Dead comic book killed Laura. When she had the baby inside of her, she got shot from behind and killed her and the baby. So The Walking Dead is not above, at least in the comic, is not above showing the death of a baby or somebody with child. So, and
I'm
honestly,
really pulling for Maggie, man. I'm really pulling for her. And I just want to say, too, the main reason that I think it may be Eugene is because he did give Rick the ingredients for the bullets, and he knows of a warehouse that they can turn into basically a bullet manufacturing spot, and Negan now has that information. So why does he need this guy? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm kind of scared for Eugene, and the fact that Eugene was the only person who was really just breaking down crying. A very big sign of weakness, and I don't think Negan is much of a fan of weakness.
No, but Glenn definitely. Of all of them that showed weakness, it was Glenn.
Oh, yeah.
Because Glenn broke free. Glenn said
and he also
no,
gave
no.
himself away.
He gave himself
how much
away.
he cared about.
Exactly. And then he's willing, even in the face of imminent death, even in the face of somebody who's got all their cards pulled, still willing to run at them with his body, with no weapon or whatever, tied up, still willing to run out there and do something. Even if it was nothing, he still tried to do something versus everybody else that was just very subservient.
Right.
So I think that of all of them that showed, even Abraham kind of bowing up, he still didn't lose his composure.
No.
But Glenn lost his shit.
He
and
did.
to me, if I was Negan, if I saw one of them lose their shit, I'd be like, that guy's a loose cannon.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to be able to hold himself together. He's not going to be able to do what I need him to do.
Exactly.
And that's another thing that's really scary is that, especially for Daryl and Rick, who were the two main guys to dive into this mission, is that they have terribly underestimated the Saviors as a group.
Well, Rick did underestimate the Saviors, but Daryl, if anybody honestly deserved to die in this scene, it would be Daryl, because I want to say he's 90% of the cause of how it's playing out right now for him running the fuck off.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not to say that, Maggie wouldn't have got sick and that they wouldn't have had to go, but
he was, in the moment, he wanted to avenge Denise.
Exactly.
But
he got four main people caught that may not even have been there.
Right.
So, Glenn would have been there, but still, I really think that he made a really bad decision.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that if he does survive in season 7, this will cause him to think a little bit more before he makes bad decisions.
Right.
And not the opposite. Not the opposite of being like, Negan killed my friend, now I'm going to have to go crazy and kill him.
Right.
It's like, dude, you need to pull it back. Because it didn't work for you last time, it's not going to work for you again.
Be like Batman, think ahead.
Think ahead, that's right.
But in the end, like I said, we totally support The Walking Dead. We are totally proud of them. We are satisfied. We are loyal. And we absolutely loved it. 2 thumbs up, double
Absolutely.
tens. For what it's worth, we hope the rest of you feel the same way.
And if you don't, let us know.
Exactly.
Talk to us in the comments below. Tell us how you felt. Subscribe if you like this video and you want to see more videos like it. And thanks for watching, guys. As always, may the nerd be with you.
Absolutely. X marks the spot for Negan's future victim. I'm
Watch your
Brand
heads.
X.
I'm in the comics.
And we'll see you next time right here on Dorkside of the Nerd Show.
Later, baby. Bada, 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 sweet.
Bada.